Calling all Eurovision fans, there is a breaking news. Yes, you heard me right, there is a breaking news because seemingly out of nowhere, I feel like the logo and slogan for Eurovision 2022 was released on Friday evening. I say seemingly out of nowhere, especially because at the time of recording this video, which is just a few hours after it was announced, the Eurovision website is still not updated with the new graphics, so I don't know if everyone saw it, but I did notice around Twitter and on Reddit, there was a few people that posted, I think it was some pictures that they had taken around Sharon, where people have found these banners where the logo and slogan was on, and I feel like the EBU noticed that and was like, yeah, we better just release it now. But we now know that the slogan for the Eurovision 2022 in Turin is "The Sound of Beauty." Yes, I just quickly looked down on my screen because I couldn't remember it. Mainly because it's a bit of a weird slogan, but we'll get back to that. This is just kind of gonna be my initial reaction to the logo, what I think of it. So we're not gonna go too deep into all of these things, and I think they've even announced that the whole story and inspiration and process with the logo won't be out until Monday, which is where I suspect the logo was supposed to have been released. Right, the logo itself, I've already talked enough about everything else. The thing is, it's a very different logo compared to what we've seen the past couple years, because we've kind of gotten used to this thing where a Eurovision logo, you have the logo with the heart where it says Eurovision, the one that we're used to, but we've gotten very accustomed to in recent years that we kind of have this I guess you can call it an emblem or whatever. We had the star in Tel Aviv, we had that timeline or whatever they wanted to call it in Rotterdam, we had the diamond in Copenhagen. We've had these emblems that have kind of been the logo for Eurovision, where this year it feels like the Eurovision logo itself is much more prominent, and we kind of have graphics around the logo, which honestly I do kind of like it, because I think one of the things that gets kind of awkward when it comes to some of the Eurovision graphics we've had over the years is that the official logo almost kind of becomes secondary in a way. It just kind of it's just there because it has to be there, so it just kind of looks a little awkward, and when you want to do all the promotion material, you want to use the logo that you've made, but it doesn't always look good if you have to integrate the Eurovision logo. And you can do something like we did in Denmark in 2014, where they just kind of put it very small up at the top of the diamond. But then you look at something for example, the Eurovision logo in Kiev in 2017, and it's very awkward because it's this it's this very big logo with the pearl necklace or whatever, and it just looks very out of place that you have to have the Eurovision logo in there. So I kind of like what they're doing here, and that they're actually taking the essence of the Eurovision logo and figuring out how you can work around it. I forgot to mention this in my initial recording, but it does also remind me a little bit of the theme art that we had in Eurovision in 2015, because that didn't really have a emblem either. It was very much the logo, the generic Eurovision logo was built into the graphics, and I do feel like that one is a bit overlooked. I actually quite enjoyed it. The show in Vienna wasn't the best, but I did like the graphics that year. I do want to say that I think that the Dutch broadcaster did it really well this year, and I really like the kind of revision that they did with the Open Up logo, because what we saw for 2020 was a very typical kind of style. It's very typical Eurovision with this dark blue background, which we've seen a bunch of times. But I feel like what they really did this year, where they had all these different colors, it was a very colorful thing. I say this year, I mean last year, of course. Not used to being in 2022 just yet. They really played around with it and created something that's unique, and I feel like Italy and RØDE have done that as well here. I am a little bit biased. The color that is used for the slogan, that's actually one of my favorite colors, the mint green color. I have a bunch of things. I should have worn that shirt, actually. I have a mint green shirt. I have a mint green face mask. I used to have a mint green phone, but that one broke, unfortunately. is 100% my color, so I love that it's actually being used in the Eurovision logo, because I didn't expect that. And the very warm orange and red colors, I think it's very warm and inviting, and I think coming from a graphic designer standpoint, which I have taken graphic design classes, so I can talk a little bit about this. I dropped out, but let's not talk about that bit. I know a little bit about it, and I am passionate about graphic design, and I think this is it's a little retro, but I kind of like that. Let's talk about the slogan, or more specifically the font that's used for the slogan. It's also this very like bold 70s kind of font, and this is a kind of font that's actually like making a return, you can say. It's definitely one of the 2022 graphic design trends, because yes, I follow along to those apparently. Moving a little bit away from the 80s, which has been very dominant, and now we're moving into this sort of like 70s graphic design, and I think these kinds of colors and this kind of fun very much plays into that. And it all just like wraps around the fact that I think it's super classy, and I've seen a lot of people call it boring for that, because we don't have this emblem and we don't have a lot of things going on, but I think we have to think about who made this. Like, for once, we actually have a production that's 100% native to the country. This isn't some outsourced thing that we've seen in recent years that some countries tend to do. No, this is a 100% Rai production, and I think looking at this logo, there is no doubt that this comes from the same people who produced Sanremo. I could just as easily see the Sanremo logo being slapped there in the middle instead of the Eurovision logo, and it would not look out of place at all. It's definitely one of those things. When I think about Italy, this is what I think about, like very, very classy styles, and I think about like some of the beautiful architecture that Italy has, and I feel like this logo and this graphic to me really shows that they want to embrace this style. And I think that's very nice, because I think when Eurovision graphics shine, it's when it's something unique. You can say what you want about the all aboard graphics for Eurovision in Lisbon, but at least it felt different. It felt different to everything else that we've kind of like seen in the 2010s. And I feel like already here in the 2020s, we're seeing new things that we haven't seen in the Eurovision Song Contest in terms of like the graphic design for many years. We're seeing countries embracing their own identity instead of just trying to make it look like an American Music Awards show. So all in all, I'm definitely a fan of the logo. I think it looks very great, and I'm very excited to see it in use, because this is just the logo we have so far, and it's very static. We don't have an animation or anything yet, so I'm excited to see what they're gonna do there, because I think this definitely has potential to be really beautifully animated, and especially like the things around the logo definitely look like it's going to be like animated, and it's going to be a big part of like the graphics on screen. So very excited to see how it's gonna look. But on the other hand, let's talk about the slogan. Eurovision slogans is just kind of a thing that just kind of have to be there. We've had Eurovision slogans since 2003, I believe, and I think they're here to stay. I think especially here in newer times, the slogan have become so much more important, because this is what you can use on social media. If you really want to track the engagement, you want to see how many people are connecting with your show on social media, like on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, you need to have a unique slogan every year, so you can make sure that people use that hashtag in their tweets, and you can see how many people are engaging with your show. So I think they're here to stay, but the sound of beauty, what does that mean? I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they're gonna come out with on Monday when they talk a little bit about the inspiration, because I'm sure there is a thought behind this, and probably more than a single thought. I think Rai has spent a lot of time working on this, but right now, first reactions, which is what this video is, no, I don't like it. This is very much like the early styles of the Eurovision slogans. Something like 2003's A Magical Wanderoo, or I think it was just Awakening in 2005. It's extremely random, and I've seen a lot of people both on Twitter and on Reddit say, why didn't they swap it out so it was the beauty of sound? I feel like that would make so much more sense. It would still be a little random, but at least it would make more sense in terms of a Eurovision contest, a musical contest. But like I said, it probably does have a meaning, and they will probably explain it to us, but this slogan really doesn't do it for me, but I feel like like there's a lot of slogans that don't really do it for me. I don't think they are such an important part of the show. Yes, they may be important for social media, but I think some countries are really good at taking the slogan as part of their theme and going all out with it. Something like All Aboard in Lisbon, which was... the whole show was centered around this, like, sea life boat theme, so that made a lot of sense. But we've also had some years, like for example the years where it was very diversity driven slogans. I don't know what to call it, but the stuff like building bridges under the same sky, celebrate diversity, these kinds of slogans where it's about embracing everyone. It's fine, but like, if you aren't going to make it a part of your show, if it's just gonna be there as a slogan that's just there, I think it's unnecessary. And I think if we look at a contest like 2009, for example, in Moscow, that has a very strong visual identity and a very strong identity in general without a slogan. So unless there is a really good story about the sound of beauty, I feel like it's just a little bit unnecessary. But those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you love the addition of mint green as well? I'm a little bit hyped about that just because I love the color. Look, it's a graphic designer in me. I can get nerdy about these kinds of things. Do you want to see more videos where I talk about graphic design in Eurovision? Let me know. But what do you think of the logo and this year's slogan? I would love to hear your thoughts, so leave them down in the comments. But thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then remember to give this video a like and a favorite. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more Eurovision videos from me. And then I'll hopefully see you again very soon.